Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today, what I want to talk about is racism in general, and I want to particularly talk about Jews. I want to talk about Arabs. I want to talk about other races and why me and every single Muslim could not be a racist. Just plain fact. And also, I want to sort of point out the difference between a Jew and Judaism, an Arab and Islam, or Muslims in general as a term, Muslim, and I want to explain that very briefly in my spare time now. So I just want to make something very, very clear on the outset. Okay, so since the beginning of creation, so since Allah created Adam and Adam inhabited the earth with his partner, it was always La ilaha illallah. So we have to establish this. So there was only one God. Okay, and I want you to listen to this, even if you're a non-Muslim or you're Jewish, you're following Judaism, or you're a Christian. It doesn't matter what you are. Just want you to keep an open mind. So Allah created Adam, placed him on earth. Now Adam's on earth, and then over time, as people started to neglect worshipping one God, they started following different ideologies, whether it's worldly desires or wealth and so on. So Allah sent, or if you prefer, Allah is God, God, the God. So He sent other messengers to call people back to the right path. What's the right path? What is the declaration of faith? For every single prophet that came, he only told his people to what? Worship the one God, La ilaha illallah, and then obviously to believe in him as the prophet of God. Now each prophet or each messenger came with certain miracles to convince the people that he is indeed a messenger. Just like when a messenger comes and then there's a particular seal on the message, so you can actually recognize that this actually came from the source. Okay, so every messenger came up with a message and also evidence that this message came from the source, which is the creator of the heaven and the earth. So we believe as Muslims that every single prophet, Moses, Jesus, you name it, Abraham, whatever, Noah, Jacob, who's also known as Israel, the name Israel. So you have Bani Israel, the children of Israel. So all these messages, when they came, so Musa or Moses, he would have told his people to repeat the declaration of faith of La ilaha illallah. There is no God worthy of worship except the one true creator, Allah, and to say, and Musa Rasulullah. So Moses is the prophet of Allah. That's what it was. So this was the message throughout from the very beginning of creation until Prophet Muhammad sallallahu and Islam. So Islam is not something new, or the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu came up, the religion of Islam or anything like that. A Muslim is someone that submits his will to the Creator. So anyone that makes that declaration of La ilaha illallah, or there is no one worthy except Allah, and the present prophet, which is, let's say we're in the time of Jesus, and we would have said Jesus is the prophet of. So there's no one worthy of worship. There's no God worthy of worship except God, and Jesus is the prophet of God. That's what we would have declared if it was now in the time of Jesus, and if Jesus was present among us, he would have told us to say that declaration of faith. So the followers of Jesus would have been called Muslims, and the religion of Jesus is Islam, to submit one's will to that of the divine's will. Okay, so we have to establish that this was the very beginning. So what are a Jew? Is that a religion? Can someone become a Jew? Not quite, not exactly, because a Jew is like someone is like just the same as being someone's Chinese. You wouldn't say his religion is Chinese. Someone is Egyptian. You wouldn't say his religion is Egyptian. But what's happened? The non-followers of Moses, the people that followed Moses, Musa, they were Muslims. So obviously they were Jews. Their ethnicity is a Jew, and when they followed him, they submitted their will in Islam. So they became Muslims. So the followers of Musa are Muslims. But the non-Muslims now, say the Romans or whoever, they pointed at those people, and they said, to recognize, because they all the people that were following Musa, the majority of them, not all of them were Jews, but the vast majority were ethnically Jews. So the non-Muslims used to say, those people, those Jews, they are the followers of Judaism. So this was a name given to them from the outside. It wasn't Musa or Moses that said, "Oh, I'm coming with a religion, and the religion is called Judaism." He didn't say that at all. Nowhere in the books does it say that. Nowhere in the Bible does it say, the religion of disciples or the followers of Jesus are Christians, or say we are Christians. No, this term came later on. This term came later on, after Jesus, many years after Jesus left. But what they did say, and what you will find in the Bible, is that Jesus is submitting his will to Allah, and he is saying, "I am a Muslim. My religion is Islam." So you will find this in the Old Testament, in the New Testament. You will see this, these declarations. However, what you won't actually see it as La ilaha illallah, this or Muslim, the word Muslim. They translate the words. They change the words. So when Jesus, for example, bowed down in prayer, just like the Muslims, he put his head on the ground, just as a prayer as Muslims, which also the Jews pray in the same way. They also bow down on the ground, and they pray the same way. It's just the same way of where it's like a respect to the Creator. You humble yourself in front of the Creator. He submitted his will, and he said, I by my own will can do nothing. I by the will of God, inshallah. And he also said, when inshallah, I heal the blind, I bring the dead back to life, all that stuff. So you already know that if you're a Christian or someone or a Muslim that has looked into the Bible. And he also says that I submit, I bowed down when he did his prostration. He said, I bow down in peace and total submission. I bow down in peace and total submission. And that is what a Muslim does. He bows down in peace and total submission. This is the word Islam. This is the word of a Muslim. A Muslim is someone that submits his will to the Creator, the Almighty Creator. Okay, so basically from the very beginning, I'm just summarizing because this might be very difficult for people to understand. I did not know this as a child, by the way, and I was born in a Muslim family, and I kind of got a bit confused. I went to a predominantly Jewish school, and then I went to a Christian school, and then I went to a very secular school, which everyone was like saying, religion is man-made, it's created by the government, and the government to control the people and that kind of stuff. So there was a lot of misunderstanding, and it's only when I actually started investigating, going through the Torah, trying to understand what the Torah is in the Old Testament, and then going through the scriptures, which they call the Talmud, and trying to understand all these oral traditions, and also trying to go through the gospel as well, and really when I'm reading, I'm saying, okay, this, whatever is written, it has to sort of tally in here, and it has to tally in the heart as well. So it has to sort of, because inside, God has given us this like moral, like a compass, which guides us to the truth. if you seek the truth, you'll be guided. So you've got that system inside you which tells you what's right and what's wrong. If something doesn't make sense, it's just it doesn't make sense. You can just more likely or not, either you don't understand, you need to further read into the matter, or it's completely false and it's completely fabricated, or it's just man-made. Because if you're reading a story and it just jumps all over the place and things don't add up, and then one minute God's perfect, he doesn't make mistakes. So one minute he says, okay, this is from this and this is, and it was 10 people, and then another time he's saying about the same event where he's saying now there's 100 people, and then it talks about the same event, it says they're on horseback, and then they're like on same event, but it's describing it in such a different way. Only humans will make mistakes. If you're asking someone about certain accounts, if it's an incident or there's a crime that was committed, everyone kind of like reports the same event in slightly different way, or it might be from hearsay. So someone must have told them about something, so they kind of like trying to repeat, but it's like a Chinese whisper, so they'll make mistakes. So in a way, you can actually catch these things and you can figure out what parts in these old scriptures were kind of fabricated, and what parts are very likely are from the prophet or Jesus. Pretty much probably have said those statements, because they do sort of make sense and they kind of tally with the whole message of one God and submission to God, and whatever he's commanding, it's for the good of mankind. He's not telling you to commit murder or something like that, or to perform a crime like rape or incest or whatever. So you can actually figure out that this message is for the betterment of mankind. Therefore it must be from the Creator, because he wants the best for his creation. God doesn't want to create us so he can punish us or ruin us or destroy us. He wants us to be the best version of ourselves in this world, and he wants us to succeed and go to heaven and paradise. So his message or his guidance is always for the best, for our interest. So he tells us to fast. Obviously there must be benefits, and as science has proven, there are benefits to fasting. For example, as I'm just giving you a simple example. So this is the establishment of from the very beginning of creation until the Prophet ﷺ. All the people that have followed the Prophet of that time were Muslims. Okay, they were not anything else, they were Muslims. Now, why is it wrong? And I'm talking about this, and I'm talking about racism because I'm trying to come to the point. Why is it wrong then to curse, say for example, the Jews? I mean, I've went to North Africa. There's a lot of anti-Semitism. I'm first starting with my own people, and then I'm going to talk about what's going on in Israel as well. So just bear with me on that. So when I travelled in North Africa and places like that, you get the odd sort of Arab or Amazighi or whatever, a different race, and they would like make a comment against the Jews because of what the crimes are being, crimes against humanity, terrorists and committed by the IDF and the state in Israel. Okay, so they always make comments, or they curse, they create a curse, and that's completely wrong. And I always stand against that, and I say, brother, sister, don't say that. That's haram. This is haram, because amongst those people there are good people. There are people that speak truth, stand up for justice. You will see a lot of human rights activists are Jews they're ethnically Jews, so it's not, they're not the enemy. Okay, they're not the bad people. They're not like the devil or anything like that. This isn't a race. It's Chinese, it could be African, it could be anything. Yeah, so it's nothing to do with that. And there are Jews that adopted the ideology, which, like I said to you, the name of Judaism came later on. It was given to them by other people, and then they took it on as this is our belief, because they want to obviously say we are different. Just like you have in Islam, you have like these different groups, political groups or whatever, and they say, oh, I'm a Salafi, I'm a brother, part of the brotherhood or whatever around this or that. This is actually shouldn't be the case, because the Prophet ﷺ only said Islam. He didn't say Salafi or this or that. He didn't try to divide or create different parties and say we should be following this party. None of that. It was only submit to Allah, follow the commandments by the Creator, live your life according to this standard within this framework. So you have a lot of flexibility. There's a lot of halal, and there's only a few things that are kind of like, okay, this is forbidden and this is forbidden, and you just try to live within those boundaries for the best of your interests. You're not doing a favor to the Creator, you're doing a favor to yourself, because you will live a healthier life, a happier life, a successful life, and ultimately you gain paradise. So it's really giving you advice for your own benefit, and that's the thing that's crazy about it. I don't know why people just abandon it, or they adopt a different ideology. They claim they're Muslims and they adopt. But anyway, going back to the point. So you have Jews that say we are Jews. We're following Judaism. You have Jews that say we are Christian, and you also have Jews that have reverted to Islam. They've reverted to the original message, which is from Moses himself. The people, every single Jew prophet that came from Ishaq, from Isaac, was a Muslim. Every single one of them was a Muslim, and he was only calling to worship the one God, which Jews do believe in. They believe in monotheistic, so they believe in the same God as Allah. They believe in Allah. It's not any different. Okay, even Christians. You go to any Arab country, they say Allah. In Egypt, there's a lot of Christians, Coptic Christians, and they say the word Allah. So that's the name of the Creator. I don't know why some people have this sticking point about it. Oh no, it's not called Allah. It's called. You go to any Arab country, he is called Allah. You talk to any Jew who knows Arabic, he will say to you Allah as well. He would not say to you any. Well, there's other names they say, but Allah has many attributes. So Allah has many names which describe His attributes. He's the most wise, most powerful. So it has a lot of these attributes. Okay. So this is one thing. So we should not, as Muslims, we should never say anything or curse or say anything bad against it. We should differentiate very clearly the difference between Jews and Zionism. Okay, Zionism is an ideology which was founded by someone who disbelieved in the Creator. He was not even someone that was claiming to be following the Torah or Talmud, or he wasn't claiming anything like that. He was actually anti-God. He was someone that disbelieved in a Creator, and he set up an ideology, like a party, an organization, which was claiming to, now we're going to set up a home for the Jews. It's basically like I don't know, some atheist, some famous atheist. He comes around and says, you know what, I want to create this new party, and we're going to be fighting for the right of the Muslims, and we want to create a home for all the Muslims. I mean, wouldn't you be a bit suspicious? I mean, someone coming from someone that doesn't even believe, hates the Muslims, for example, wants them all dead, and he's anti-Islam, Islamophobic, and yet he's coming out and he's saying he wants to create a special place where all the Muslims can live happily ever after and practice their faith. Wouldn't you be a little bit suspicious about that individual? I mean, I would, if it's obvious, right? So for example, I know, and Allah tells us in the Quran, Satan is your open enemy. He is never. Satan's not going to change. Or, God's already told us. He warned us. This entity hates you, and he wants to destroy you, and he wants you dead. He wants you to suffer, whatever. He's never your friend. So do not take him. Do not even listen to him. Shouldn't take advice from him. So then, if Satan comes around, Shaitan comes around, and if he was, physically in front of you, and he's telling you, "Here's a cup of water. I know you're a bit thirsty. Drink some water." Would you even trust him? I mean, it's mind-boggling how stupid, I'm sorry to say this, but how stupid people are when 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 Satan comes around. He says, oh, he's only given, oh, it's so kind of him. And they give him nicknames. I mean, in the Arab world, they call him they give him nicknames like Shushu, it's like a as if it's like a cute little a little cat or something. I don't understand how stupid people become. And so they just make jokes about it and that kind of stuff. But getting seriously into the point, so first of all, we should distinguish the difference. I mean, Zionism is a terrorist organization, okay? They do not represent the Jews or those who follow the Torah under, say, the banner of, say, Judaism. They don't represent them at all. Their faith has been hijacked, just like ISIS hijacks Islam. ISIS has no interest in promoting Islam or uniting the Muslims and making the world a better place. They are just a terrorist group, just like the Zionists. Zionists are actually a terrorist group. So if ISIS comes around and then takes over a government, for example, and they're now ruling over a country, it does not mean that they're ruling under the divine laws of the Creator, because Allah forbids killing innocent. He forbids that. There is nowhere does it say kill any innocent, whether he's a Muslim, Christian, Jew, disbeliever, even homosexual. You cannot kill anybody. God is the one that gave life, and He only can be the one who can take life away. So you cannot take a life unjustly. Of course, under certain circumstances you can. So for example, if someone's coming to kill me and he's got a gun and he's about to kill me, I can defend myself, and then in that fight he gets killed. It wasn't like I went out there looking to kill someone. It was in self-defense. I was defending myself and he got killed. So I have a right to defend myself, and Allah tells me that. However, I cannot go out there and cause terror. In fact, in Islam, we are not even allowed to scare someone, like just like sneak up on someone behind his back and then just say boo or something, not just give them a fright, because you don't know what the state is. You don't know if they've got an issue in their heart, whatever. Maybe you just give them a big shock and then they get a heart attack. So you've caused that person to die or suffer because of this little prank joke that you've done. So we shouldn't be doing that. So all the Muslims that I have, got YouTube videos, whatever, and they do all these little silly, immature pranks. Yes, you make money in this dunya, but you don't know how much sins you're actually accumulating for the akhirah. And we are at the very mercy of Allah, and we are just people that just, if one good deed, can just basically like tip the scale anyway, like you can tip the scale and you go to heaven just for that one little good deed, and now you're just creating accumulating all these sins, and you could really be destroyed for eternity because of these silly things. I mean, I did say in a previous video of an old lady who was a Muslim, by the way, and when she died, everyone assumed the best, and they assumed that she'll go to heaven, and the Prophet said no, she will not go to heaven, she's actually going to hell. And when they asked him why, he said because she mistreated a cat. She locked a cat in a room, she didn't give it food or water. Just mistreating an animal can wipe out all your good deeds. Doesn't matter how many times you prayed, fasted, did good deeds, whatever, everything is void if you mistreat another human being or an animal, and Allah knows best about this. And then there's another lady who was performing lots of sins. She's very sinful, doing a lot of bad things, and it's not very clear whether she was a Muslim or not, but this was from the old generation. Probably she was from from Bani Israel before Prophet Muhammad came, whatever. So this was he was talking about this event happened in the past, and then when she seen a thirsty dog, she got some water and she gave it to the dog, and because of that, Allah wiped out all her sins. In fact, Allah has such an amazing offer where He actually says, if anyone that repents, doesn't matter what sins they've committed, if they have this true remorse in their heart and they truly repent to Allah, true repentance, Allah not only would wipe out all their sins, but He would replace all their bad deeds. So imagine like let's say £1,000,000 or £1,000,000, in debt, and then suddenly it becomes a positive balance. So instead of you being in debt with all these debts, with all these sins, you're now in a positive balance of good deeds. So you're starting off with a positive plus, and like brother Andrew Tate, mashallah, he has made the best trade ever. This is the best transaction, the best business he's ever done when he became a Muslim. Not that he's financially going to be richer materialistically, but in the akhirah he can potentially, he's still alive, everyone can change, and may Allah sabbit his heart in iman, and keep him firm on the faith, and increase him in knowledge, increase him in good deeds, everything. So if he does stay on that track and he keeps going forward, he'll be heading for a massive reward with his creator, with Allah, if he does maintain that. And it's an amazing offer, because he as an individual, or any revert in fact, if anyone's watching this as a non-Muslim and they decide to come, well, you know what, you are very lucky. You are very lucky compared to those who are like born Muslims, because not only would Allah forgive your sins and give you a blank sheet of paper to start from, like as if you're just born, but He can also replace all your past sins into good deeds. So you're starting with a positive balance. I can't say that about my life. I'm ashamed of certain things. I wish I can go back. Sometimes I wish there was a time machine I can go back and just at least speak to my younger version of myself, and just give myself advice, and tell myself, focus more on education, do this, don't mess around, and just like a mentor. I would have really liked that, but unfortunately I can't get any younger. I can't go back in time to change my past, so I can only work on myself today. So where am I today, and and just work on that, and just live the rest of my life to my best. So yeah, that's the thing. So yeah, it's okay to speak against Zionism, because that's a terrorist organization, a terrorist cult that has hijacked a religious group, and also they are not representing that. So it's fine to do that, and it's for every right that every Muslim, every decent human being should stand up against them, whether physically, verbally, even in their heart. They should have hatred towards them. So this is something very clear, something that I will never be able to. You can never justify. No matter how you look at it, you cannot justify any of the crimes committed by the Zionist terror group. Okay, so that's something that is very, very clear on that. They are completely satanic. So the army of Satan himself. This is if you want to see Satan, you just have to look at them, and that's it. And anyone that is in Israel, anyone who is a true believer of the one God that we all unite under, they should stand up against it. And it's not about nationalism. If Egypt was doing something wrong, I will speak up against it. I will say this is wrong, and like that. So I would sort of address that. I wouldn't be like loyal because of a particular nation, and this is the thing that really confuses me, because I do have a lot of friends from all walks of life, and And it really confuses me why people are trying to claim a little piece of land, and they're saying historically, they lived there, so therefore they have the right over it. But when we look into it a little bit more, if you're saying, 3,000 years ago, you inhabited that land, or you occupied that land, therefore you should take that land back. Well, just before that period, this whole region was all under Egypt. So, if you have an issue with, Palestine getting back the land, just give it all to Egypt and just get ruled by Egypt. If that makes you even happier, I don't know, because if the facts are the whole area was called Egypt, by the way. So I don't know why you have this issue. And if you even go further than that, we all originated from Adam. So the whole world belongs to us. It doesn't matter about your ethnicity, or because you was born somewhere and so therefore you have more right on that piece of land, or because your dad was there but then you relocated to Australia, so then suddenly you feel actually this piece of land, it belongs to me. No one, it's not like you bought the land, it's not like there was something on sale, there was an auction and you bid it and you won the bid, therefore you bought that property, so that's why you're saying legally this is my house. You can't say that. What they've actually done, they've actually robbed people's property. They've gone into people's houses and they've taken it from them by force. Someone built a house and then some other criminal comes along. If you think about it, they're all criminals. What's happened is a massive crime against the whole of humanity. So any decent human being, should stand up against it 100%. Even if you were born in Israel, even if you was serving in the army previously, you should stand up against it. You should fight for the justice of the Palestinians, fight for the justice of other human beings, irrespective of their ideology, irrespective if they're black or white, Chinese, Indian, doesn't matter what they are. You should always stand up for justice, because that's what it teaches you in the Torah. That's what teaches you in the Quran. So we should always stick to those principles. So in summary, Islam was, from the very beginning of creation, we all came from the same father, which is Adam. And then obviously we all came from Abraham as well. Okay, so Abraham is the father of nations, and we came from Adam. So why are we fighting? Why are we killing each other? No one has a right to take anyone else's life. And if Israel, or the government of Israel, changes its stance, then there will be peace in the world. Trust me, there will be peace in the world. There is no point in fighting and killing and all that nonsense. And you just give people the freedom to choose how they want to live their life. If someone wants to be, I don't know, they feel they want to be a dog, they want to be identified as a panda, for example. They want to be fine, it's their life, As long as they don't intervene, as long as they don't come to you and say to you, oh, you have to be a panda as well. We're all pandas. No, you're a panda, fine. I'm not. I don't want to be a panda. I'm a human being, and I'm a Muslim, and so on. So we should give people the freedom. And in the Quran it says, La ikraha fid din. There is no compulsion in religion. There is no compulsion in the way of life. So if someone wants to follow God and submit their will to Allah, he's a Muslim, and he will get rewarded. If someone doesn't, for whatever reason, just like I told you, I was approached by the Masons when I was a lot younger, and they introduced me gradually. This is over a period of time, over the whole, their system and so on. I didn't join. I refused because I found it to go directly against the commandments of Allah. It went directly against, to be specific, the verse in the Quran, Surah Al-Baqarah 100, 101 and 102. And 101, it talks about how Sulaiman is completely innocent against the claims that people made, that he disbelieved, and it was the jinns, those spirits, the demonic spirits, that have misguided the people and started teaching them magic. And that magic for the Jews is called the Kabbalah. The Kabbalah, yeah, if you heard about it. So most of Freemasonry is the Kabbalah, and I have attended a Kabbalah meeting as well. So I know what goes on in those meetings. I understand exactly what they believe in. I know all that stuff as well. So what I'm saying to you, denounce all these things if you want salvation in this life and the next. If you just want this life, do whatever you want, but as long as you don't step on anyone else's toes, as long as you don't force other people to follow your way of life, yeah? In your own home, do whatever, yeah, drink, do whatever, yeah, as long as it's legal, yeah, whatever is legal in the land, do it, but do it in your own home. Don't go out there and start imposing it on other people. And also for us Muslims, we should just invite people to the true path, because it's for their success ultimately. It's not like we're going to get money for it. I know that some people, they do it for money, yeah, it's like a profitable thing these days, you give some dawah, you get some money from YouTube or whatever, yeah, but we should do it with pure intention that we're just trying to save people's life and be concerned about it, because that is our purpose in life. We just invite, and Allah only guides those who seek guidance. Sorry if I talked a bit, I have to go back to now work. I'm working online, so I'm just going to go back and if someone, now just sticking to the Jews as well, if you hear someone or any other Muslim, because I've had this strong heated debates with a few brothers in the UK and also abroad, if someone speaks against the Jews in directly, being anti-Semitic, or they don't understand this difference, please advise them. And if you do meet a Jew, greet them, they're your brother as well. They have just very minor, we have a lot in common between Muslims and the Jews who are following the Torah. I don't want to say Judaism all the time, I just Jews that follow the Torah. And if you're able to show them and prove that Jesus did come, Isa alayhi salam, and you can show them the evidence, because it's in their book as well, the very detailed description of the final prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And we shouldn't, and also for Jews and Muslims and anyone in general as well, but specifically for the Jews, we should not be like the devil, Satan. Satan's first sin was arrogance, pride, and some people, they have pride in their ethnicity. I'm a mix of different ethnicity groups, about 60% North African, Middle Eastern, whatever, 40% European, from East and West, and a bit of Ashkenazi as well. So it's all mixed in there. So I cannot be against a certain ethnic group, because I'm a cocktail of all ethnic groups. I've literally, last time when I looked at the map, I have family all over the world, from every corner of the world, from Latin America, North America, you name it. I've got brother Australia. It's just I've got family all over the world. Okay, ancestors from all over the world. So I cannot, and everyone, if you check your own genetics, you'll be like amazed how diverse your origin is. Because ultimately we like I said in the beginning, we all originated from Adam anyway, so it's not surprise. It's not like we're all different aliens or different people. Anyway, I'll let you go and go back to work now. Thanks for listening. And one last thing, if I've made any mistakes, Allah alam, Allah knows best everything, but if I've made any mistake, give me some constructive criticism. I'm not perfect, I'm always learning all the time. So anyway, thank you very much. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.